Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly review Voxel Tycoon. This is a game that you can find on Steam's Early Access program for about 25 bucks. Now I stress early access. That means everything that you're about to see here, including this review, is subject to change. And to go one step further, this is the kind of game that requires a lot of hours to play in order to see a lot of the end-game content. There's a lot of production chaining in here, a lot of using research to unlock stuff, and I'll just be honest, I haven't had time to go that far with it. But I've played enough games like it to form an early opinion, so take that for what you will. So, Voxel Tycoon is extremely familiar to me. I've played Transport Fever and Transport Fever 2. I've played Rise of Industry. I've played, the old style Railroad Tycoon games. This is very similar to that. I was setting up lines in this game within 5 seconds because I was familiar with how Transport Fever did it. So in this game, you're going to get a starting region. There is no campaign as far as I can tell. You just click on New Game and that's it. Though I will state that this game does have workshop support, even in early access. So people are already starting to create things that you can use in your game, which is cool. There's also an asset editor should you want to mess with that. I am not at all very good with that stuff, but it's there if you want it. So that's awesome. Workshop support is there. There's a mods section on the main menu you can fiddle around with. But when you go to start a new game, you'll be able to adjust your company color, the currency that you use. You can turn the tutorial on or off. A tutorial is just a very quick slideshowy, hand-holdy thing where it's very short. Again, I actually skipped it because I knew what I was doing already. Judging, based on the other games that I've played, I was able to just jump into this without too much of a problem. You can adjust the difficulty. There's like startup capital, max loan interests, value of goods, volume of demand, settlement growth, passenger spawn rate, deposit richness, removal refund, inflation, bankruptcy periods, and so on, research. So there's a lot of stuff there. You can even allow train turnaround if you want if you want a more realistic approach to it. You can turn that off so that trains are forced to create a loop. And then you can adjust the world, like the region size, mountains, lakes, plants, how often you see those. This is an infinite world, however. It's like procedurally generated. You start off with this region unlocked already, similar to that of Rise of Industry. And you put a headquarters down, and putting a headquarters down will increase the amount of money that you make from sales within that general area. But you have like 4 hubs, 4 cities or towns within this region. And you're going to be creating connections between them. And also you've got these natural resources on the map, like coal, or you've got this forest for wood. And you're going to be plopping down various routes and things to start making money. When you want to start branching out from there, you can unlock the regions around you, which contain more towns and cities and other natural resources. But it requires a ton of money. So a lot of this game is going to be you have to make your starting region successful, and then you slowly branch out from there. And based on the Steam store page, this game boasts that it's infinite world replayable, so that you just keep building. As you unlock a new region, more appear. So it's like you're eventually going to have a lot of cities and a lot of towns to manage. And I haven't gotten that far with it, like I said earlier, but that all sounds really cool. Because in, say, Rise of Industry or Transport Fever, you were limited to a map, and that was it. There were clear borders to it. Here, it seems like there are none. So that's really cool. Now, for those of you not familiar at all with, say, Transport Fever or Rise of Industry, or there's now the open Transport Tycoon Deluxe for free on Steam. Again, your primary goal is to create a business of transporting things back and forth. You're like a transportation company. And what you do typically in this game is you build a garage, which you use to buy vehicles. But then you build these stations. These stations can be freight, these stations could be passengers, and then you put them next to things. So, for example, you've got this forest out in the middle of nowhere. You put a freight station next to it so it's within range of that. And then automatically the forest will start dumping the wood into the freight station. Now you build a freight station somewhere in town next to a business that needs it. Every town has, say, one or two goods that it demands, whether it be wood or iron ore or whatever. And then you put a station next to that. And then you create, again, your garage. You buy a vehicle that's appropriate for that good. Not all trucks can transport passengers. Not all trucks can transport lumber. Not all trucks can transport this. There's little icons that will tell you what each truck is capable of transporting. So you buy the truck, you set up the route, you click the go button, like turn it on, and off it goes. It'll go back and forth between the destinations that you set for it, and it'll start making you money. Hopefully you did it right. There's a clone button. So you can click on the garage clone button, and then you pick the vehicle that you want that's already running around, and then it'll automatically clone so that a new vehicle is created with that exact route. That's kind of cool. I like that. I haven't really seen anything in terms of maintenance yet. Transport Fever was a nightmare in terms of vehicle maintenance until they automated it. But that's the general gist of this. What's cool about this game as well is that there's a lab that you put down. And you have to pump not only money into your research tree, but you also have to pump resources into it. And this is where the logistics can get a little crazy. Because as you, like in the beginning, you're like, oh, this is easy. Wood, got it. I'm shipping it to 3 different towns at this point. I'm making a ton of money. No problem. Iron ore. Okay, let's transport that iron ore. Okay, fine. Everything's hunky-dory there. But now you've got this lab. And this lab, in order to unlock more factories that you can't even build any factories in the beginning, but factories turn raw materials into, finished goods. So, for example, the lumber that you've been hauling all this time, once you research it in the tech tree, you can actually create factories that refine that wood into, like, planks. And then businesses will start demanding those. So businesses in this game within the towns will change their demand over time. Businesses will open and close. If you don't supply a business, it will go bankrupt and that will hurt the town. By supplying a town with everything it wants or needs based on the businesses within it, it'll start to grow in population. You'll see more houses start popping up, very similar to that of, say, Transport Fever or Transport Tycoon, what have you. So, like, there's some similarities in this game to the other games I've played, and then there are some differences. Again, namely, the fact that the laboratory, your tech tree, needs different resources. Like, you actually have to ship resources to it. Not only money, but resources to it in order to, get your next thing completed. And I really like that. I don't know why. There's connectors in this game. There's conveyor belts, which is not something I've seen in Transport Fever or Transport Fever 2. Filters, so it's got like a kind of a Factorio thing to it too, which I have not explored yet, but I'm looking forward to. So there's signals that you'll eventually unlock over time. There are trains in this game. I'm doing all of my transportation via road right now, via trucks. But there are trains in this game, so you can mess with that a little bit. I don't know if there's airplanes. I didn't see anything like that, or boats. I'm looking through my build menu and I'm not seeing it. That being said, it's very possible that, this is something that will be unlocked with technology and I just simply haven't gotten that far in the game yet. So like I said, this is a game that is going to take some time to learn and play, but everything with it so far is pretty good. My only concern really is that it's very samey to other games like Rise of Industry and Transport Fever 2. So, like, if you've played those games, it's a catch-22. You're like, oh, well, I've played this before. I know how to do this. I've done this before, and I don't see anything new. So what's the big deal? Why would I buy this when I've got those other games? By that same extension, This game does, like I said, a couple of things that the other games do not. Between the lab requiring resources and some of the production chaining going on that you're going to be doing. Rise of Industry had that, but not as extensively as this. And also the procedurally generated world where it's just continuously going. And the workshop support. Rise of Industry does not have workshop support. This one does. And this game is cheaper to boot. So, do I recommend it? Yes. Based on everything I've seen so far, I do recommend it. But for those of you that are new to the game and have never played a Transport Fever slash Rise of Industry game before, you may be a little frustrated at first because there is a learning curve with setting up garages and freight stations and pathing and all that other stuff. But once you get the hang of it, just start out slow is what I recommend. Fast forward is your friend. If once you're making a profit, just sit there and let the game run. Go watch a movie. You'll have a ton of money. Play around with that money and learn the game. So that's what I recommend anyway. So yeah, I do recommend this. Early access, and it has workshop support to boot. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.